Hello, this is Debbie from Organic Oasis in California, Zone 9B. If you watched my last video, you saw that Tim and I grew some organic pumpkins in our suburban backyard, and I cooked them and made pumpkin puree. Well, today I'm going to make pumpkin creme brulee for our holiday dinner, and I'm going to be using this wonderful pumpkin puree. I will post the recipe, a link to the recipe, and if you follow along with me, let's see how delicious this creme brulee comes out, especially using fresh pumpkin puree, not the canned stuff, and growing from our organic garden. You too could do this. You could grow pumpkins. They're actually really easy to grow. In fact, this pumpkin, I believe this year grew, it was self-seeded. It self-seeded itself from last year, and it just started growing, and I didn't even plant it. I mean, it self-seeded from a pumpkin that we grew the previous year. And it made it through the heat of our 110-degree days, and it made it through lots of hot weather, and it produced several beautiful little pumpkins. So it's fun to grow pumpkins. You can actually seed them. I've seen people seed them just in a dirt area where they let them just sprawl and grow. I trellis my pumpkins, so I do trellis them up to save space. But if you follow along with Tim and my channel, Organic Oasis, you will see how we plant pumpkins, how we harvest pumpkins, and then how we turn those pumpkins into delicious dishes that we can enjoy with our family and friends. Thanks for following. This recipe starts out with 15 ounces of pumpkin. I've got 2.5 ounces. 6 ounces. I think I'll be using up all the rest of my pumpkin puree. Okay, so I only ended up with 10 ounces of pumpkin left over from my homegrown organic pumpkin puree, and I have to supplement with Libby's. And look at the difference in color. I'm sad to have to do this, but it is what it is. It'll still be delicious. It has almost all of our homegrown pumpkin in it. So I am now up to, I need 5 more ounces. Okay, that's about it. I'm gonna take a little bit out of this. There we go. So the rest of this I'll use in my dog's food. It's actually really good for dogs. I use it when my dogs aren't feeling well, or if they get loose stools, it helps firm them up. So my dogs will love this. 3 large eggs. I got a shell in here. Whoops. Two tablespoons of bourbon whiskey. You could leave this out if you don't drink, if you have somebody that can't have any alcohol. Next, you put in a 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. If you don't have pumpkin pie spice, you can make your own. It's just cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. You can just mix it up and make your own. So I'm putting in 1 teaspoon. I have a 1/4 teaspoon here, so I'll just put in 4 1/4 teaspoons. Next, we put in a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. Actually, I had never used this before until I made a drink the other day, and I bought this. And each teaspoon is equal to a bean pod. So it's got a very strong vanilla flavor. So I've got a 1/4 teaspoon here. I'm doing dishes. I'm just, you know, I don't have a lot of this left. I'm just gonna put it all in it. I used it for my, like I said, a pear mocktail. And now this is the last recipe I have where I need this. This was quite expensive. It was $10. But if you buy bean pods, it was $10 for 4 bean pods. So this turned out to be way more economical than buying bean pods. Teaspoon of vanilla extract. Quarter teaspoon of salt. So now we're going to whisk all these ingredients together. So this next step, you pour in 3/4 cups or 6 ounces of maple syrup into a small pan. You heat the syrup to boiling, lower the heat, and boil for 3 minutes. Okay, it's starting to boil. I'm gonna lower the heat. And I'm cooking it now for 3 minutes, putting my 3-minute timer on. During the 3 minutes that the maple syrup is cooking, you want to keep it at a very light boil. You don't want it to go too much and boil over, but you want to keep it at a nice low boil for the 3 minutes. The maple syrup has been boiling for 3 minutes, and now you take 1 cup of heavy cream and you pour 1/3 of it in at a time and stir it in. Now we're going to whisk the maple syrup cream into the pumpkin puree mixture. So now I poured the pumpkin creme brulee mixture from my KitchenAid bowl into this measuring cup because it has a pour spout. So it'll be easier to pour this into these ramekins. Now the ramekins, they want you to have at least 6 to 8 4-ounce capacity. So I'm using an assortment of ones that I have. Some flat ones, some little taller ones. So now I'm just gonna fill up, I'm gonna go ahead and try to put 4 ounces in each one, but basically I'm gonna be filling them up at least halfway. And you put them into a 9 by 13 inch pan. We'll be filling this up with hot water to bake them. Now you take the hottest tap water that you have and you pour it into this 19 by 13 inch pan. Just go up halfway to your ramekin. You don't want it to get into your pumpkin, your creme brulee mixture. Now your 2 9 by 13 pans filled with the creme brulees and the hot water goes into your oven at 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. The creme brulees are out of the oven. They were cooking at 350 for 30 minutes. Now you leave them sitting on your counter with the hot water. The hot water is still in there. Let me show you. It's, if you can't see it, there's hot water. It's still, some of it's simmering, but they're sitting in the hot water for another 15 minutes. Well, the creme brulee is done. It sat in the hot water for 15 minutes, and I just took it out of here, took it out of the 9 by 13 inch pans that it was sitting in the hot water. And now we just leave it sitting here to cool. And see how now it's nice? You can actually see where this is not wobbly at all and it's starting to pull away from the sides. So you can see that this is fully cooked. So now what happens is we're going to let it cool here, and when it's completely cool, we're gonna cover and refrigerate it until it's completely chilled. It can stay in your refrigerator overnight and up to 2 days. And when ready to serve, we're gonna sprinkle a light coating of sugar across the surface and use a kitchen torch to melt and caramelize the sugar into a hard coating. Wow, the creme brulees are finished, and this one is still warm in my hand, and I'll be serving this for dessert tomorrow night for my family for our early Thanksgiving dinner. And I won't probably be able to show you the final result with the caramelized sugar on top because I'll be entertaining some friends and family. And you should put the caramelized sugar on just before you serve it. So, but I do want to give you some tips on this. So I've had my torch for quite some time, probably 20 years I've had this. And recently when I went looking for the propane to refill it, I could not find it in any grocery stores. Most stores that stopped selling cigarettes also stopped selling the butane refills for cigarette lighters. These used to be for cigarette lighters, cigar lighters. And so the grocery stores, since a lot of them or most of them no longer sell cigarettes, they don't sell the butane any longer. So after going to 2 or 3 stores, somebody clued me in that we had a smoke shop in our city, and I went to the smoke shop, and sure enough, they not only sold the little torches, but they sold the butane refills. It's a cigar shop, so they had all of this, I guess, for cigars. But I was able to pick this up, so I refilled my torch, and I just want to let you know, it has a lot of safety features on it. I don't even know what brand mine is anymore, but basically when I go to do my creme brulee, I'm going to sprinkle, I'm looking at probably 1 to 2 teaspoons of sugar, because you really want to get that nice thick coating on top, which makes creme brulee so delicious. I'm going to use regular granulated sugar. And then when you torch it, you will turn this on. It has a safety switch on it. It's pretty powerful. I have it on the lowest setting, but as you can see, it comes out like this. And you just basically go quickly and torch it and melt the sugar, and it will caramelize the top. When you need to refill it, you just pop this off. There's a little hole on the bottom, and you stick it in, and you can refill your torch. I'm so thankful that you watched my video. I hope that you try making these creme brulees. It's okay to use store-bought Libby's pumpkin, canned pumpkin. It's okay to do that. I did use some of it in this. It's still gonna be delicious. It's fun to grow your own vegetables. It was fun growing my pumpkin and making this from it. But the Libby's pumpkin, canned pumpkin, it will be just as delicious. Have fun this coming holiday season, and enjoy baking and spending time with your loved ones and your family and your friends. Happy holidays.